Now we got started with slices and arrays. Time for a brief look behind the scenes to fully understand the connection between slices and arrays. Slices are like a reference, like a window into an array, a bit like a pointer, though it's a different concept. When we create an array like prices, that array is stored in memory. When we then create a slice based on that array, we get a window into that array, so to say. And therefore, if we would modify an element in a slice, we would also modify the same element in the original array. So for example here, if I use my featured prices slice, which again is this part of the original array, and I added the first item of that slice, which is $9.99, because we start at the second element here when we select that slice, which is $9.99. So the first element of that slice then is that $9.99 value. If I added this and set it to 199.99, then indeed what you'll see is that when we output the prices array, so the original array, which I did not directly edit here, we will still see that $9.99 will have been overwritten by 199.99. So if I run this program, indeed we see that the original array has its second value overwritten by this value, because a slice is just that window into the original array. And that also has one important implication. When you create a slice, you don't copy the original array. So you don't have that copy in memory that occupies extra memory space. Instead, you still only have one array in memory, and your slice is just a tiny reference to a part of that array. And hence, it's a very memory efficient way of selecting parts of arrays, and if you want to do that, of editing parts of an array. Now, Go also saves some metadata for our slices that can be useful to look into. For every slice, we got a length and a capacity. And we can output both here to understand what it is. I'll start with the length. The length of featured prices can be output by using the built-in len function, which is built into Go just like that. You don't need to import any package for that. It's a default Go function. You can also call it on other value types, as you see here in the tooltip, for example on arrays and also on strings, but here we'll just call it on the featured prices slice. And then I want to output a second value, which we get by calling the built-in cap function, which just like len is built into Go. To cap, I'll also pass my featured prices, and that will give us the capacity. Now here, if I run my code, we'll get the same value twice, we'll get free twice for both the length and the capacity. But what are these two values? The length gives us the number of items in a slice or array. So if that slice, featured prices, has 3 elements, which it does, length will give us 3 as a value. The capacity is a bit more complex. It's the same value here, but that would be different if we would output highlighted prices. If we output the length and capacity of highlighted prices, then we'll see a difference. So if we use that other slice we got here. Here, if we output that, we get 1 and 3 as values. Now, why is that? Highlighted prices is based on featured prices, which in turn is based on the prices array. So they share the same array under the hood. But highlighted prices selects everything from the start of featured prices up to the second element of featured prices, excluding that element. That's why we have a length of 1. There is only one element which is part of that highlighted prices slice. But we have a higher capacity because the slice, and therefore the original array on which highlighted prices is based, actually has more items left. In featured prices, where we selected everything from the second item until the end of the original array, we still have this entire subset left. So if in highlighted prices we then select just the first item, we could theoretically still select the other two items, and that's why we overall have a capacity of 3. Why not a capacity of 4, since the original array has a length of 4? Well, because, and that's important to understand about slices, you can always select more towards the end of an array, but not towards the start, so towards the left. Since the first slice on which we are based starts at the second element and not at the first element, any other slices based on it can't go further to the left. So we can't go back to that first element which we omit here. That's why the capacity only counts towards the end of the original array, but omits any elements that might have been filtered out before. Can be a bit complex to wrap your head around, but is something you can simply play around with in code as well to get a feeling for it. In the end, it's just important to understand that you can always select more items to the right, but never to the left. And to show you what this means, I'll change highlighted prices. Here, after outputting all of that, I'll use highlighted prices, which is based on featured prices, and I'll set it equal to highlighted prices, so not featured prices, but highlighted prices, and then select a specific index like 3 here. And now, if I repeat this code here, without outputting prices again though, you will see that if you now run this code again, you get that entire featured prices slice. And now the length matches the capacity. Now that is a quite interesting behavior because I did now reslice highlighted prices based on the previous highlighted prices slice. It might have been clear that this works if I would have used featured prices here. But I did not do that. I used highlighted prices here. And highlighted prices before in this code block was just one value, because we sliced it to be only up to the second value. That's what I meant with you can always select more towards the end of an array or slice. Even though highlighted prices originally only had one element, we can reslice based on that one element slice and now suddenly select more than that one element because internally Go always memorized that there is more content available to the right of the selected slice. And that's what this capacity here kind of told us, where we had a difference between capacity and length. There were more elements available and Go memorized that. That's why on this one element slice, we still are able to reslice to pick up more elements, but only to the right, not to the left. There is no way of getting access to this original first value in that prices array. That's gone forever since we started by creating a slice that omitted that value. And that's a lot of deep dive theoretical stuff. I'm fully aware of that. These are just some gotchas and interesting quirks for that slices feature that you should at least have heard about. Because sometimes when you write your own code or you dive into other Go projects, you might suddenly see code snippets like this, where we suddenly select more than was previously stored in a slice, and you might wonder why that works. Well, it works because if you select more to the end of an array, you can't always do that because Go memorizes that original array. But as a special quirk, it kind of only does that for more values to the right of the existing slice, not to the left.